not.
Oh, okay.
I think he's here this week, yeah. You know, I talked to him this morning, he's coming.
Yeah. Hi Richard, hi John.
How's everybody doing? Good?
Good, good.
Keith, how are you?
Yeah.
Steve? Hello. Carl, everybody? Richard?
Yeah.
It's not raining, so I can't complain.
This is a nice stretch of weather.
Nice.
Right,
I
okay.
missed the
Keep
whole
bringing it
day.
on.
Right.
It's nice.
So my brush piles
It's
are out
perfect.
of control.
Yeah. We'll get plenty of rain and snow, don't worry.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what the pros are talking about, saying, you know, the farmer's almanac says it's gonna be a heavy snow winter.
Really?
You know, wet.
Is
and
that
really
really
wet.
reliable?
Really?
No, I don't know, they're just probably making it up, I don't know.
They're right.
I'm still picking around 60.
They're right 50% then, yeah.
You guys, you check with me when a snowstorm's coming, I'll tell you what it's gonna do, and you don't have to listen to any weather forecast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I learned from Uncle George and my dad.
Yeah.
I have no faith in any of them. I don't. I don't.
yeah.
But you
What's
do
your
in your
method?
father and Uncle George?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
do.
know.
I'll tell you right after it happened.
I mean, but it's like you, Carl, you grew up on a farm. Your dad, those guys, they knew, they didn't listen to the weather.
No.
They knew it was coming.
But they
Well, they
lose
did.
their strawberries every now and then too.
Yeah, they do, but you can't control that.
I'll tell you, the most stressful thing about running a school was having to call snow days.
You were saying, yeah.
Horrible.
Well, because you had a big area.
Yeah, I mean, we were all the way over to Standish and Plymouth
It's
and
a long way.
it's a lot of microsystems.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also like, you grew up in New Hampshire, you go to school in the snow.
Get some snow.
But when it's somebody's
Put your
kid
boots on.
getting killed in a car accident,
Yeah.
I don't want that on my head, so
It's 6 o'clock.
never have to worry about it again.
Carl, do you wanna open the
it up
meeting?
and-
Yeah.
Okay. 6 o'clock, I would call the select board meeting to order on October 24th. Changes and additions to the agenda. We're adding John Wheeler from the cemetery,
Because I left him off, thank you.
and we're adding payroll and accounts payable.
Yeah, those came in late.
I love that accounts payable.
Well,
nice.
we usually don't have any.
Did you see the accounts payable this week, Bruno? $383.
You'll want to know the details.
Perfect.
So we'll go to new business. Staffing and town administrator position.
So, you have received an acceptance, and so now you need to officially move
Okay.
to hire her.
All right.
Do you have the motion?
I don't have it in
Here.
front of me.
Let me give it to
Do you
you.
have it on paper?
Yeah.
I should have.
Okay, Brad, you got several motions, I'll read.
Yeah, there's 3 in there in bold.
Yeah. I move to hire Emily Nolan as the town administrator, starting on December 2nd, 2024, at the salary of $72,000, with full benefits and with a $2,000 raise on June 2nd, 2025, contingent upon a positive evaluation at the 6-month point.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Fair yes.
Schaefer.
Prejudice, yes.
Do you wanna hire Emily?
Roberts, yes. 5 yes. Okay. Then we move to pay Emily Nolan $35 an hour for 8 hours per week during her transition for training.
Second.
Discussion.
So that's part of her 40, not in addition to her 40. Just to
Correct.
clarify. So the part of her week that she'll be training for the new position, she'll be paid at the town administrator approximately the same rate.
Only for the portion that she's training, not for
Right.
the recreation.
Right, not
Yeah.
the portion.
Yep.
Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Fair yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prejudice, yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much vacation time is she starting off with?
Good question.
I assume whatever she had, but
I
thought of that.
think she has 2 weeks.
It would be hard to take away what she'd earned as.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
yeah.
No, I think
we
it's
hadn't
already
discussed it.
We,
Okay.
yeah, we hadn't,
It's whatever
Okay.
she's got from her 2 years as rec.
That should
Okay.
shift
Yeah.
No,
over.
just curious.
Yeah.
That's how it worked with me when I switched. to
Yeah, that's what the
I didn't
policy
lose it.
says, that you
Okay.
carry it
Hold
over
over?
with you.
I
Okay.
think that was
Yeah.
one thing we never talked about.
Yeah, it's always something.
So I have a third motion.
Wait, we didn't finish this one.
We
didn't vote.
Oh, we didn't?
We went
No.
to discussion.
Where were we at?
Do we have a second?
We do, I did.
Okay, on the training hours.
Oh,
Yes.
$35 an hour. Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes.
Okay. And I move to engage Keats Meyer on an hourly basis to assist in ongoing training as needed at $35 an hour.
Second.
Once she's
Once she
not
is.
working any longer.
Right, after December.
Well, let's start right now.
Yeah.
Once Emily has the position and Keats is officially retired,
Right, so that's like we hired Kath Graham from Sandwich to help
Help
kids with
training,
transition, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
okay, any other comments? Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes.
Passes.
So we voted to post the rec director position contingent upon an acceptance at the last meeting, so that will be posted now. So
Tomorrow
everybody
morning.
that wants to be the rec director is available.
There you go, Rona.
I thought you might like a change, Richard.
Okay. Done that, been there.
You get to keep your vacation.
Thank you.
So, as Emily is strong with her technical skills.
Oh, just, no,
You
that's,
wanna wait on that?
don't read that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
wait
fine.
on that.
Okay, so you can just give me that paper back.
I'm not giving it back. You wanna take over, Emery, now that you're
There
here?
you go.
Ah, do I have to? You're doing a great job. I kinda liked it. Where were we?
Now we're at-
Tax rate setting?
Yeah.
Yes, so now I need to get myself set up. I
Are you
was-
putting that up there? Do we have to, are you putting that on the screen?
What?
Or can
Yeah, I just have to get it shared again,
we- okay.
which, why am I doing wrong? Of course I had it, oh, there we go. Okay, share. I'm gonna start with this. And share. My screen sharing is paused. Why is my screen sharing paused? I don't want it paused. Steve, how do I unpause it?
Just pausing on your host or your guest?
I don't know.
Can you hit five?
Did you set this to allow it?
This I did, I thought, but maybe, I don't know.
No, multiple.
Oh, it was set on that, but it must have. I started screen sharing,
Was the tax rate setting a separate email?
Okay,
from
so
the
I would try
prep
to
email?
stop sharing and then
and then
reshare.
do it.
From what?
Okay.
Was it separate from the prep email?
It was.
Share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did my screen go? It's here. Huh. You know, of course, this has been up since 2 this afternoon, I just want to say.
Thank you.
You just want to share your desktop or do you have an application you want to share?
Well, it's Excel.
Okay, so is it an Excel's launch? So if you stop that screen share and you just share the application,
Okay, so stop that.
and then when you
Yeah,
go back to share,
yeah,
there should be, if you scroll down,
it was right here.
I would open it.
Okay.
It probably doesn't know which one to open, that's why it's got
Close
several.
window. Should I close these?
It looks like you made.
This is the open one. Now it's,
It's got several open,
okay, so,
tabs.
so what should I do?
so now you got one.
Oh, there it is.
So hit
There, that's the one I want to
save or
share.
don't save.
Emily?
This is it.
Okay, but it's, you're
The
trying to close
soccer
it, so I hit cancel.
Sheet
Oh.
over there, maybe that you left before
Okay.
working in
And then do
here.
you have any other Excel tabs
Like
open?
a field lineup for soccer.
I don't
This is
think
over by
so.
the printer.
Okay, so try sharing it again.
Okay, so I have to get into Zoom
I looked, I was like, oh, I know that kid, I know that kid, I know that kid.
and then
And then you can see the Excel
share.
tabs right there.
Okay,
And you're sharing email.
I don't want to be
But you're
shared.
up, you're sharing this window right here. So hit stop share. Back to sharing. And there.
Can you give us?
Okay. Now we're sharing, right?
Now it's.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you can never leave.
All right, so I thought what I would do is just take us through how much there's in the unassigned fund balance as a starting point. We're gonna be setting the tax rate. And so we'll walk through that, then we'll walk through where we are with the municipal budget and then the overall. And I'll also put the DRA portal. So, our starting point in 2024 was 2.535 million, which is about 20% of the total town budget, which includes not just municipal, but school, everything the town has raised money for. We spent 279,000, so our actual unassigned fund balance at this point in time is 2.256, which is 17.6%. And as you know, our policy says we should be between 8 and 15%. So, what this little chart does is it shows you at different percentage rates where you get to, if you got down all the way down to 8, you'd only have $1,025,000 in your unassigned fund balance. So the other consideration is that so there's money to be used to offset taxes. That's the main message here. Here's a cumulative column. If we brought the unassigned fund balance down to something like 13%, in theory, you could use almost more than 700,000 of your unassigned fund balance. Some of it you can use to offset taxes, some of it you can use to buy items for next year's budget. But it kind of gives you an idea of the scale of the money that you have available. And as you're thinking about where you want that percentage to be, just note that I'm estimating, and I think it's a conservative estimate, but I'm estimating that we'll probably have about 400,000 of unspent dollars at the end of the year. And so that replenishes essentially the unassigned fund balance. So we will use, let's say you use 700, I'm just using that as a number. You're gonna get a replenishment, so you'll still have money next year to offset taxes or whatever you want. I think the goal should be to try and get these numbers lower. They've been too high, it's like having too much in savings, which is never a problem, but it is in this case, because this is taxpayer money. So, that's that. Then I'm gonna go to just a high-level kind of summary of where we are budget-wise. So, after taking out the fire department's very big grant that they didn't get, our total appropriations for 2024 are 4.983 million,
Can you
okay?
increase the zoom,
Yeah.
Keeks, please?
Sorry?
Can you increase the zoom?
Oh,
please?
yeah,
Bottom right corner.
yep. Is that better? More?
That's good.
Yeah, it sounds good, I think.
Okay.
Brought my glass.
So overall, that was an 8% decrease year over year. And we used 279,000 from the unassigned fund balance to buy goods and services. I think a bridge and some other things. If you want detail on that, I can tell you. But so our estimated revenues, and you go through an exercise with the Department of Revenue liaison, are now set at 1.857 million. So you take, and then we have the veterans benefit overlay. So that is the sum total of all the veterans credits, which the town then collectively pays for. And then the overlay to cover abatements, and that's set at 80,000. Let me just scroll over here a little bit. And so where that puts us is an initial tax effort of $3,009,000. If we did nothing to, if we didn't offset that, okay? So that gives you a sense of, so if I take this out, that gives you a sense of the municipal budget, all right? I want to go down here just real briefly and show you, and then we'll go over to the DRA portal. But basically, so 2024's tax rate, when we set last year, the town portion of it, we set it $7.19 and so on and so forth for a total tax rate of $25.23. And as you know, this is a reval year. So in the old reval, let's say, language or base, the rate that DRA has, if we do nothing to offset it, is the equivalent of 2616, which is a 3.69% increase. That's honestly better than I thought it was going to be. I was somewhat relieved to see that it wasn't more. If you then translate that 26.16 cents, or dollars and cents, into the new reval number, and what I mean by that is there's, the assessor assesses the whole town. And before he hit go, we were at $402 million valuation. We're now at $724 million valuation. So that means the rate has to come down to get to the same net goal, right? So that would be.
You said 724, did you mean 7.24?
No, I meant 724 million.
724.
Is
Yeah.
the new valuation.
Wow.
Instead of
That's a lot of
402 million,
Okay.
it's 724 million.
Gotcha.
So, so all things being equal, that would be $15.01 for the new rate, which is the equivalent of $26.16. But we're now going to start talking in the new numbers. But I just wanted you to be able to see the difference. This 1446 here is a calculation I did to
Keep it even.
that, yeah, to actually lower it a little bit, the equivalent of a few cents. Okay, so are there any questions on this general sort of high level? You've all seen it before, but okay.
It's unfortunate in some respects it's a reval year because people will have trouble keeping track of whether or not the tax rate went down. Our goal is to try to get
Correct.
the tax rate down. But
Correct.
with the reval,
You know,
it's gonna be weird and it's gonna be hard.
Well,
for
right,
people.
because there's multiple moving parts, and until you get your assessment, you just don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, in an ideal world, depending on what you decide tonight, the rate could be lower than it was. It's hard to do apples to apples, but that's what you.
Yeah.
I received. Okay.
One question, if I may,
Yes.
on the abatement amount that you have set aside for abatements, have you increased that over last year in order to
Well,
account for?
first of all, there's two things going on. One was we were keeping our abatement level too high before, really due to a lack of understanding, I think, on my part. So we were raising too much in abatement. So I did not raise it for this year. In 2025, I mean, 80 should be enough. I looked back at 2019, we abated about 40, so I doubled that number. It could go up to 100 next year. The abatements will be split between this fiscal year and next fiscal year. But yeah, I think it's enough.
Okay.
And I did ask the question from DRA, what happens if you spend all your abatement money? She said you go to the unassigned fund balance. I doubt that'll happen, but that is actually what you do. So.
Yeah.
Okay, now, am I not sharing this? So I want to stop sharing that. And I want to start sharing this. Am I sure? Is it working?
It's just taking a second.
Yay, miracle. Okay. This is the, and I unfortunately have a, let me get rid of that, okay. Okay, so this is the Department of Revenue portal. And this is where you can plug in numbers and see what it does to your tax rate. But first I'll just walk you through the page. Oh, you can't see it?
No.
How do I make it bigger?
That's
We have
tough.
to all sit way up.
Probably
there.
have to change the screen resolution to do
Oh,
that.
come on,
So,
I can't do
no,
that.
not really,
Okay.
unless you have a few options.
All right, sorry guys, it's small numbers, but
Full screen? Or
Yeah, that's
is it-
possible. If you go to the view in the
Squint
upper,
real hard.
upper right corner, you might be able to go full screen.
upper right corner,
Of
this?
Zoom itself. If you look at that,
The biggest TV I could get, I'm sorry.
It's bigger than mine.
This?
it's on this one actually.
Oh, yeah.
Able to
Zoom ratio?
show the video.
Yeah.
Look at us go now.
Oh. We should just sit next to each other.
Okay, I mean that works. Yeah.
I can do numbers, I can't do computers.
How's that?
Better. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I need to move this.
Yeah, somehow.
Okay. So, let's At the beginning of 2024, our unassigned fund balance, as I mentioned before, was 2.535 million. The town voted to spend 279,000 on purchased items for the town. And then you go down, so that's what you're left with, 2.256 million in unassigned fund balance, which is at a healthy 17.6%, which is 2.6% over where we're supposed to be at a max. We've got an $80,000 requested overlay, and then we go down here. So if you did nothing, if you did no tax relief, you would have this 1501
Right.
tax rate, which is the equivalent of a 93-cent increase over last year, or a 3.69% increase. So, you see, there's our municipal, there's the county, which actually came down this year 3 cents. There's local education, which is up $1 and something, I'm not exactly sure, it's $1 and some cents. And then the state, the good news is the state came down 94 cents, I think. So that helps us a lot.
Yeah.
That's really a good news thing. I want to go down.
Sorry.
I hate hearing my own voice. Okay, so that would be a $15.01 rate if you did nothing. Now we can go up here, and I happen to have calculated what you'd need to put in to bring it down to the $14.46 that would be a decrease, and it's 425,000. So let's put that in. Okay, and do a calculation, recalc. And what that does is we get down to 443. Because, and it comes straight off the municipal side, even though it impacts the rate for the whole thing. But so you have that money because it is in the unassigned fund balance, which we just went through. And it's, you know, we can put in different amounts. It's really, you know, what your goals are in terms of balancing unassigned fund balance use with tax rate.
So that puts us at 14.29. Where have we been? I know we've
Puts
been,
you at
oh, sorry.
14.43.
No, percent left in the
Oh.
unassigned fund balance, right?
That's what happens is always at the beginning of the year it bumps way up because you get this new influx from the last year's budget.
So it would actually end up being higher than 14.
Well, so this is 14.29 at the end of 2024.
She's thinking more than
And then-
400,000. No,
I'm estimating 400,000.
400,000,
I
so we'll
could
be
be
back
off.
up
It
to
could
where
be
we
more.
were.
It could be a little less because that's a hard estimate.
yeah.
3 months before the end of the year, but that's my guesstimate. And so that money will go back in, so that 14.29 will go up again. And so that, I'm so bad at sharing, but basically the first screen I showed was that 400,000 being added back onto
And
this number. And so
his-
you'd be back at like at least 17%.
Historically, we've been high percentage-wise.
In our
Where-
history, we've been way too high. We've been at like 20, 21.
Yeah.
So we've been working that down over the last couple of years.
We keep trying, but not enough. So
But the
if you actually spend some of this right now, you can, yeah, I would say you use a chunk, and then you can use a chunk in the 2025 budget setting.
with us, I mean, it seems to me like we've been tightening up our budget, like more so year to year as much as we can.
Yep.
To keep the number.
In 2022,
Pretty
I think
flat.
there was $1 million over, yeah.
So, I don't think, I'm not saying we should use any less than 425,000. But I think that we've been headed in the right direction and getting the percentage down. I don't know that we want to do it like all at once either, use 600,000 or 700,000 or 800,000, because then next year we've also been tightening up our budget, so there should be less money to go into it if we've been doing the right thing, because
Right.
we're trying not to flop the money over.
Right, right.
So I think we need to keep that in the back of our minds, that
Yep.
next year, it may be like 200,000 that goes in because we tightened up our budget so much. So there's gonna be
Right.
less unspent money.
I mean,
I don't know if that's,
from what I looked at, I think you can safely spend 600,000 to 700,000 between the two ways of spending that money.
Mhm.
You're gonna get, in this year, you're gonna get 400 back. So, you know, with all of that said and done, I think you'll still be in the 17 to 18% range, maybe 16 to 17, it's a little hard for me to say exactly. But so it's lower than it was, to your point. It's not,
It's below 20 anyway.
it's not
Yeah.
20, it's not 21, it's more in the 17, 16 range, so
When was our policy created that said 8 to 15?
I don't know, before our time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, if that's a policy, we're
I didn't even
actively
know we had
working.
one till recently.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the state's
Me too.
recommendation.
And it might just be a policy to look at again to see if it still makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying not to use 5 or 600,000. I just
Yeah.
think we need to not be
Remember-
careful, but
Yeah,
we're gonna get to a year if we keep tightening up our budget year to year, which it seems like we have been doing over a few year period,
Well,
as well as using more unassigned fund balance. Eventually, we're gonna get to a point when we might have a little bit more of a shocking year when our tax rate's gonna jump up, maybe
Right,
a little bit more than we're used to. So
yeah,
I don't.
it's possible.
You mentioned that you're anticipating maybe $400,000 excess at the end of the year. How does that compare to the last couple of years?
The year before, I think it was like 600, in 2022, it was a big number, which is why we had $700,000 tax offset.
right.
But it was like 1 million or 1.1 million. That was set in 21, and then that was voted on in 22, and 23, I can't remember.
But it's been.
Oh, I probably have it
Yeah.
in my spreadsheet.
Now, you're saying if we commit 425,000, was that the number?
That was a
From the
number
unassigned fund balance.
to get you
Yeah.
down a few cents from
set-
last
Few
year.
cents below the last year's tax rate.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that still leaves you
Leaves us 300.
solid money to work with the 2025 budget to offset like building Depot Bridge or buying a truck or.
And that'll leave you how much,
Around 300.
how
Yeah.
much in the unassigned fund balance?
Oh,
It was 2.5, probably million.
I don't know, it was like
was-
15%. I mean, I can pull up the sheet again, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you comfortably can spend 700,000 and you'll still have a strong unassigned fund balance, possibly over policy next year.
Mhm.
I would move to use 425,000 from the unassigned fund balance to offset taxes.
So
Second,
And are you thinking, was that a motion?
Yes.
Oh,
second,
bad
bad
discussion.
discussion.
Seems like for the last couple of years I've been the one that tries to go low. Where do I mean 425 leaves us quite a lot in our unassigned fund balance. Which I think is, I don't know, maybe good, maybe bad. I don't know that there's really a huge negative other than we don't want to keep rolling money over that we don't need to. But we're decreasing by a few cents this year. What I'm
Are you leaning toward using more?
yeah, maybe going like 500,000. He said we might
let's
be
see
able
what
to use as much
happens.
as 700 without.
well,
Remember, some
well,
of it we talked about using in the
using
budget,
it
so there's
to-
two
Oh, okay.
places, two places to use it. One is this to offset the tax rate, and then the other is to reduce the budget, so we're not appropriating more
Okay,
next,
so we kind of would be using 700,000.
yes,
Yeah.
but in two
Yeah.
different places.
but in
Yeah.
two different places. Now, which isn't, to say that you can't go over the 700, you are gonna get 400 back, and it will bring you down to maybe actually within policy at 15%. So,
Then
that
if
would
we're
bring
gonna
you down
end up
to
using
1432.
I
If you
think-
did 500, it brings your tax rate down to 1432, which is definitely a bunch lower than last year's tax rate. which-
well, then I guess I'm going back a little bit and saying I think that 425 might be a good number because that way it keeps our tax rate. If we can keep it
Keeps us
anywhere close
lower.
to equal
Yeah.
of
Or
the year
less,
before
yeah.
or less, that's great, and it also puts us in a good position, hopefully going into next year.
Use some of that.
Right,
Right, to
So-
bring the budget down.
tighten it up a little.
Yeah, because we've also, like I said, over the last few years, been kind of
Trying to be tight.
on both ends. We've been using more unassigned fund balance and tightening up the budget to keep our tax rate pretty close. So
I will
I think it's
say,
going to catch up with us if we use too much.
the average over the last 10 years for using unassigned fund balance for the tax rate is 425,000. It's 426,000. That's the average. There were 2 years that were 700. We were only 166 last year because we did some good budget. Well, never mind. I'm mixing up apples and oranges. Okay, so it's actually right on average.
Then, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Fair, yes. And Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. 425,000 it is. That was painless. I could have made it less painless if I stopped laughing.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this. And I guess that's it. Oh, now we're on budget, so now I wanna go back to sharing my budget screen.
On the budget discussion, starting with the highway department with road agent Richard Roberts.
What is that doing?
I think we are.
11. Oh, well, it's my page 11. I was off last week.
There we go, we're good.
Is it 11?
Yep.
Why does that work?
You gotta turn the switch off.
Okay,
You know what? Hearing aid.
okay. So, I have the proposed budget up here too, Richard.
You make it a little smaller so we can see what we're looking at for lines. It's a damned if you do and damned if you don't.
How's that?
Good, now.
We're almost there. If I go a little smaller, you can see the bottom.
Well, I wanna see the categories,
You could also just reduce your page zoom back to normal.
yeah.
Oh,
You're not dragging from the corner, like you can on a, to get rid of all the blank lines.
Zach says he can't see it.
Your glasses on, Jack.
go back to the 50%.
I thought we were at fifth to window.
Oh, I think you were, it was in there.
On the screen.
And then you can zoom in on your
Oh, okay.
Excel sheet. That way you get the Excel zoomed in with the columns. Yeah, you're zooming in
How
now.
many?
Okay. Is that what you want? Is that good?
You wanna watch Zach, or do we wanna watch the gallery? I don't know, however you wanna watch it.
Give the gallery. Okay.
Richard, can you remind me, part-time, what does that cover for you? Part-time employees? Is that the,
How many employees?
but is that the seasonal stuff or is that a different?
Yeah, and pretty much any time year round if I need a hand.
Okay.
People that will come in.
But it's like by the job, by the whatever, it's not a regular every week, part-time?
No,
Yeah.
no. Oh,
Part-time temporary.
and the only thing I wanna say before we even start on this budget, can I say this?
Yeah,
That we need to think long and hard. In the last 4 years, everything's gone up 40%. And I don't care whether it's your full-time employees, your part-time employees, people working in the office, policemen, highway works, everybody in this town, transfer station. We need to think about that long and hard. And I'm not sitting here asking for raises, I'm just, think about that. That everybody knows how expensive everything has gotten.
so what's the typical process if a department head wants to, increase salaries? So if you're making the budget, if the department head's making the budget and wants to, I know we do the COLA that we manage on this end, but what if?
No, that's up to me, Leanne. That is up to me to go to surrounding towns, 6 or 8 towns that have the same
Yeah.
employees and see what the, what they're
And so
paying
you just
the
put an
employees.
increase, you build
And
it into your budget.
Well, I'll just bring it to you folks and just say, hey, this is
Yeah.
what these other people are getting. And again, here you go again, I'll tell you, not so much myself, but my two guys that are still helping are way below.
When was the last time, you went through that process? Cause I don't remember you doing it.
Probably 2 or 3, probably
I think
3
it was
years
3.
ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, overall, at least been on the board 4 years, I guess, pretty much. If a department head feels like somebody's falling behind, they come in,
Present it to you.
we have it non-public, they present it to us and say, you know, and then we decide, does that person
Yes or no?
get a raise? It's pretty straightforward, other than a COLA raise throughout, you know, which
Right.
you,
That
you know,
everybody gets.
yeah, that everybody gets. They come in and say, hey, we gotta bump this person up $1 or $2, whatever it is.
yeah.
So, yes.
I think about 10 years ago, we had a committee, personnel committee, that did the overall study for all the positions and made recommendations. And since then, I don't think you've done that, but
You
Yeah.
know, all I've done it a couple times, just for my department, but I do agree with you, John. They went to like 20 other towns,
yes.
because Dave Farley was involved, and you were, John. But I've done it a couple times, I'll go to surrounding towns and just find out what they're making, and I present it to you folks, and we talk about it, and then we
Yeah.
make a decision.
Yeah,
Sandwich just did a whole study.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
Something to think about for sure, because I don't think that, and I'm not saying that we should give a 20% COLA, but
no.
We,
And I
but-
don't
but,
either, Emery.
you know, I
don't.
think that there's positions that have fallen behind over the last five or 6 years.
And I think that, I can say that for all departments.
Yeah,
well, we're seeing it in all the departments, that we're losing candidates who come to us and wanna work here, but would be
Believe
taking
me, I've
a
been
significant, well, you've
I've
just
been
experienced,
dealing with it all summer
yeah.
long.
But people can't afford to take a pay cut to come just because Tamworth's a nice place.
and in the highway department, I know about that line of work more than
Right.
most other departments that we have. And the private sector, you can get, if you're capable and have all the qualifications, you get $10-15 more an hour to work in the private sector right now than you can to come to work for the town.
And I've been,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, I've been dealing with that this summer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Well, it's come up in meetings all the time
Right,
that we want to keep our salaries up to keep the good people we have, so they don't go off into the private sector or to another town. So it's a discussion that we have frequently. We just, maybe it's up to the department heads to come in and present.
but at the same time, yes, but at the same time, department heads, I mean, maybe because Richard's got a lot of contacts in the private sector, it would be easier for him to know what a competitive rate is, but all department heads might not be in that same boat. So maybe John's point is a good one, that we should,
But I'll also be on the other side of it too, that, you know, yeah, I know you're making $15 an hour less, but most of those guys have no benefits.
Right.
And that's me.
okay, well,
That's right.
That is
Yeah.
me. We have to keep that in mind
Mhm.
when we're doing that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yes.
It's
We all
good.
know how much health insurance is, we know what the state retirement is, we know what the vacation time, all that stuff, and it just,
There's,
we have to, in my eyes, for my department, you have to be very careful where you go with that.
Keats, if you think the sandwich study is useful at all, maybe you could send it around to all of us.
I've asked them to share, they are still waiting for the final draft. And I don't know if they will share or not, but I think they will.
I can, and I'll get some numbers too.
and I will say that it is, working for a municipality is a much more consistent position than working for, you know, somebody in the private sector. It's a normally small business that
Yeah.
isn't,
Yeah.
you know, you never know what's gonna happen for sure. But
there's two things on the chat, Keith. I don't know if you
Oh.
can see. No, Zach, we don't.
In the meeting now, I can't see it, what?
I think that was an old one.
He just asked if we have a
Annual.
annual wage study for all positions, and I said, no, we don't. That's what John was just saying, that we haven't done something like that in 10 years.
Why am I seeing old
I
messages?
definitely think that it's something that should get done more often for the employees, so.
Well, I
Okay,
could research, I mean, in addition to sandwiches, seeing if we can get that, we can research what it would take to do a study.
yep.
Now, you had an open position, has it been filled?
No. No, I've had numerous people put in, and most of them don't have a CDL, or they're, that's a good way to put it, I don't want them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the budget, if the pay was a problem and you had someone you wanted to hire, would you be coming to us to increase the amount?
I would,
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
So looking through your budget, I see a lot of it staying flat.
Yeah, I just, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm just gonna ask, because I don't know anything about this, but your salt and sand, you've got at 85,000.
Yep.
And then I drive past the town garage and I see this giant pile. Is that?
We screen some of it out, but I buy a lot of it
Oh, okay.
from Coleman's and Ambrose's. Because my feeling is that we've probably got, I wish I had the numbers with me. I would say we have between probably 40,000 yards of sand left there.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just money in the bank for the town, because it's only gonna increase over the years.
Okay.
And I feel very strongly about that.
All right.
I just feel that when they bought that piece of property, whenever they did, it was a great buy. No, it was
Yeah.
just, I'd say there's about 40,000 yards of sand left there. And when we screen it out, we use the tailings and mix it in to make our crushed gravel, and
Yeah.
we haul stuff in, but, and Coleman's gives us a hell of a deal over on Maple Road. They do, I'll leave it at that.
All right.
So-
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
So in that same line of salt and sand, the pre-audited actuals are like at half. Is that because it was such a light winter last winter? You didn't use
Yeah,
as much as, I mean, the previous years you used that amount, but last year was only half. The pre-audited actuals for 2024.
yeah, but but here you go again, we still got 2 months of winter left. You know what I'm saying on
Yeah.
this year's, that
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you, I could.
And
predict the
salt,
weather.
salt adds up pretty quickly.
But,
If you,
but salt went down a lot this year, went down almost $10 a ton.
I was just about to ask you. And
And
maybe
that's a
I'm
lot of
thinking
money.
maybe I'm thinking of springtime or something.
No,
but I
salt
thought
went down
I,
$10 a ton.
yeah,
when we
I
bought
thought
the
I had talked to
dirt.
somebody that said it went up, but maybe that could have even been last year at this point.
Last year it did,
Yeah.
but this year it went down $10 a ton. That's a lot of money.
What's the, what's the increase in the bridge inspection, repair, drainage? Is that because we keep getting those storms that you end up having to ditch so much and deal with the drains because we've got all
What are you
the,
looking, Liam?
Bridge inspection repair?
line 550, bridge inspection, repair, drainage?
It's 20,000 this year, was 15 last year.
Yeah, and most of that goes for engineering costs.
Oh, okay.
That's where most of that goes, pretty much all that goes for engineering costs. For the town's engineer that designs his bridges.
So after we get Depot Road Bridge fixed,
I hope that's it.
yeah, that's what it's getting at. We won't have any like red flag bridges.
We were saying that with not Scott Bridge, the Mountain Road Bridge, and then Depot Road came up. So I wouldn't hold our breath.
I just, yeah,
I mean, it could be a year, it could be 5 years, but
I just don't, we should put money into that fund and not cut ourselves short. I'm not saying 250,000, we just keep it open and put a little bit of money in there to try to get ahead.
It's gonna happen sometime.
Do you, off the top of your head, have an idea of which bridges you think are gonna go next? You don't have to say it on the record, but I'm just saying, like,
I do. We have one that the state red listed 15 years ago. Then 5 years ago, they came back and took it off the red list.
Oh, really?
It got better.
I don't think so, but it's just, whatever. I think a lot of it is who inspects them and whatever. I just,
okay.
yeah. Well, let's leave that one alone.
yeah. Any other questions on?
Nice to see fuel stay the same.
Have you, speaking of fuel, where's that line?
558.
Ah, here it is, fuel. So you spent, 2022 was the bad year for fuel. So
And
you-
that's,
Do you, I mean, obviously the fuel price is a lot less than it was 2 years ago. Do you think you've burned less fuel for any reason? I mean,
I think we burned about the same, but the
about the
price
same,
is way
just the
down.
price.
I just,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that is, for me, that is one of those things that, like, pretty much everything else, I get a kind of a handle on. That, I just,
You
that
don't
one
know.
scares me.
Yeah,
You don't know.
month can.
I mean, I've seen it at one point, we were almost $7 a gallon for diesel.
I know.
Yeah.
So, I'm just stuck on the bridge part. So we've got the $350,000 in the CIP for the Depot Road Bridge.
Yeah.
And then, but this other line in your operating budget for bridge inspection, repair and drainage, that's just you doing regular maintenance and all the rest of the bridges?
But that is pretty much 98% of that goes right to the town's engineer.
But,
Into him.
Of the 300,000?
no, this is
no,
different, this
the
is.
20,000.
So for the Depot Road Bridge that has to be done, that 20,000 or a chunk of that is going to that bridge project? Why is that not rolled into the CIP number?
Because I feel it should be separate.
Okay,
I think that we should keep the engineering away from that. For me, it's a way to lower the cost.
so the CIP number is for
Just for the
materials and
replacement
labor?
Yep, that for the actual work.
Okay,
Plus the fact you might do engineering one year and build a bridge another.
But the town engineer that we have now, he's very good. He started on this last year, and he's been billing us, he bills us every 2 months or like 3 months, like $5,000. He doesn't want it all up front. So that's a savings for the town, instead of saying, I need $30,000 right now.
got it.
So I understand, that just makes it easier for you to pay him out?
Yeah.
It does, and I've been down that before. I mean, we did the Bunker Hill Bridge, and I went really quick that, we were working with the engineer we got now, and he estimated at $250,000, and we had some backbiting with some of the selectmen and him, and he stepped away, and then he came back when they were gone, and we spent over $200,000 in engineering costs on Bunker Hill Bridge.
Wow.
$200,000 for, this is just me, and that was a $625,000 bridge.
With including the 200,000, or was it
It
800
was
total?
$625,000, and $200,000 went to engineering.
For that little bridge?
And we could have done the same kind of bridge we did on Scott Road and the Mountain Road.
Okay.
Let's just try to forget that one. So we'll,
That's our coverage, right?
is there any other, that was before I was on the board. so-
No, I'm just saying that because when I get done, I think as a board, we have to think about stuff like that. The bridges are expensive in these little towns. I don't care if it's Sandwich, Ospey, Tamworth, we do not have that money.
But, I mean,
And I think the state of New Hampshire is way over the top. At the Scott Road Bridge, you know what they estimated that bridge to be? $1.3 million.
Wow.
And we did it for 250.
No, we did it for 190,000.
190.
And the thing is, and they say, well, get on the 10-year plan. Well, yeah, you can get on the 10-year plan, but you're not guaranteed you're gonna get that money. And in the end, it actually will cost the town more money.
How so?
Believe me, I know, because they're saying that bridge is gonna be 1.3 million. They give us, say, 70% or whatever it is, and you're not even guaranteed you get it. We'll figure it out.
Well, the rest, I don't have any other questions, Richard.
No.
Thank you.
nope,
That's good.
Any more questions?
nope, thank
Anybody?
you for coming in tonight.
Anytime, I appreciate it, guys.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
And I will get that, I'll reach out to those other towns,
Yeah.
as you said, Keats, just so we have something to look at, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially if you can't fill a position because of our pay rate, it seems like we need to consider for next year's budget.
Okay, good.
And there's time to do the research and put it in if we need to.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you for coming in tonight. On to Recreation Department with the Rec Director Emily Nolan.
Page 14.
Good night, guys.
Good night, Richard.
Yeah, it's getting there. I probably walk about too much, but life doesn't slow down. Hi.
Hi.
I tried to keep my budget pretty much the same. I think I finally nailed down a pretty good, like footprint for rec, as far as what we offer with programming, and we had a really good summer. So, yep, the only increase you'll really see is the fact that, you know, health insurance went up, things like that that are out of our control. But you'll notice down at the bottom, program supplies, trips, it's also called adult fees and miscellaneous, and then there's trips buses, and then there's trips children fees and miscellaneous. I spoke with Elaine about it. I'd like to retitle those lines. And the money kind of moved around, but it's still all the same number, it's just kind of in different categories. So instead of having all these program supplies and then different trips, I pretty much categorized it as youth programs, adult programs, busing, and then sports. So it's a little more, the way my brain works anyway, it was a little more organized. And I can explain if you have any questions on that, but.
I'm going back up to your part-time wages that ended up being 11,652 so far.
Zach, you might want to pause or mute your microphone. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. Given the, you know, like your summer programs been building up over the past couple of years, do you think that the 11.6 is going to be adequate to meet those needs for next year?
I think so, because, I talked with Pete a little bit about this before. It's not a guarantee, but the last 2 summers, the Brett School has kicked us some Title I funds that have helped.
Right.
And what happens there is they ended up paying any camp counselors that I had doing our TSEP program who are also certified as teachers were able to be paid directly through Title I funds.
Okay.
So this number gives me a cushion in case those funds don't come through. But if they do, there's enough wiggle room to hire some more teen counselors at a lower rate.
Great. Okay.
Emily, the buses went up a lot
Yeah.
this year. Is that a different deal than last?
It looks like it went up a lot, because before, let's see. Sorry, I don't have my original up.
You mean it goes up 1,000, but the
I-
pre-audit actuals are only 1/3 of it?
It's probably the reorganization of lines.
Right, I think you'll see the trips for children went down, and that's because I took busing out of that.
I'm not seeing a trips for children line.
We don't have that line.
Yeah, I see youth programs.
691?
691, oh, I'm sorry, Emily. Was that trips for children, 691?
691 on us is dues and subscriptions for Conservation Commission.
No, she means the budget line,
Oh.
so it's
That's youth
for,
sports.
it's line 654.
Yeah.
And it says youth sports, but it should say, what?
So I'm looking at 4520.10.
Dash 691, yeah.
Was
Youth-
originally titled Trips, Children, Fees, and Miscellaneous.
Says youth sports.
Okay, yes,
Is that the right title?
right, that's what I'm requesting for Elaine to retitle it to Youth Sports, and that number
Okay,
lowers.
so it is the right title.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. So that, you took the busing out of that.
Right, and put it in busing. And try to just keep all busing in one spot.
Oh, okay, so then that equals up, yeah.
Right.
So that 8359 pre-audited actual on the youth sports line actually includes some busing, is what you're saying?
Right.
That gets bounced up to the youth program?
Right.
Okay, or to the buses, yes. Which is why it's minus 70%.
You kind of took an inherited budget and now you've reclassified it to better fit your program.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, that makes sense. Looks good to me. Excellent programming this year,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of happy kids and pickleballers.
They're all losing soccer right now, so they're not happy, but.
Have they won any?
No. But that happened last year too, and then we won our last game at the tournament.
The trick is never to tell them. Usually they're like, I think we won that. And you're like, yeah, I think so too.
They're getting
14
older.
to 0.
Yeah. They're getting there. So,
Thank you.
any other questions?
That I see. No,
Wow.
thanks.
Under swim program, other went up a lot, what's that?
Oh, yes, so, as you know, we pay for parking at White Lake. That was never budgeted before, so last summer I kind of made it work because we had a bunch of rain days, and so I had money that wasn't used for staff, and we were able to kind of scrape together the funds to make it work. This year is more accurate. That represents what it would cost for parking and transportation. We tried it out this last summer and I think it worked really well, so I'd like to do it again, where one of those, we rented one bus for the 6 weeks of summer and we're able to give more swim lessons to kids. So, so that number represents parking and busing for getting kids to and from swim lessons.
But we're not still paying those like every parent has a parking pass fee, are we?
Yeah, to White Lake,
We are?
yeah.
Can we write a letter to them?
I actually have some parents who are really irritated by it and have kind of taken that, I don't know, I've kind of
Taken
wanted
it
them
on
to do
too.
that, and
And
then.
said, why did we ever give White Lake to the state? Can you imagine how much money the town would make if we
Could
got
you
that?
draw them up at Irene's Way and have them walk over to the beach? Or is that just a crazy idea?
Yeah, well, the
The
problem with
parents
that
wanna
is,
be there?
yeah, and because they're only 30-minute lessons, and
Yeah.
the ones we did at White Lake were specifically geared to the kids who are young enough, like the 4 or 5-year-olds who aren't necessarily at camp. So, for those parents, they couldn't park, they'd still have to park somewhere to watch.
And if we asked them to,
Parents could pay for their own parking.
I mean, if you had a Tamworth sticker,
Yeah, that's the problem, it adds up because we do swim lessons 3 or 4 times a week. And if you are a parent that only one of your kids are doing the lesson, but you have 2 other kids in the car, you still have to pay, it's per person, it's
Yeah.
not by car. So
That's-
I've asked
That's nutty.
White Lake to work with us, I'm like, can you give us a special discount, can you do it, but
they won't.
I'm not getting any.
But
of that.
I think we should write to the commissioner.
Well, to be fair, we've had 3 rec directors all having these same conversations and going up the food chain and getting nowhere.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Oh, just
Yeah.
irks me so much.
yeah. So,
Any other questions for Emily? Hearing none, thank you for coming in tonight.
yeah, my pleasure.
We're gonna move on to maintenance with Rick Morrell.
That's under town building, what is
Yeah.
that one called?
Yep.
Government building.
Government buildings, it's in the beginning somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
It's up to, yep, it's line 260, no, sorry. It's not line 263. Where'd it go? Planning board,
370.
270.
370.
This one goes with second half.
Yeah, probably just me.
Okay.
Alright, so pretty consistent with last year, maybe a little less. There's a few things we bumped up, but there's a few things we bumped down, so like I say, almost dead even with last year,
Yeah.
so.
What about, I know we talk about this every time you come in, Rick, what about tools and equipment that you need that right now you're using your own? Can we talk about kind of starting to put that into the budget regularly so we can build up the town supply tools so that you're not using yours?
Correct, and that's one that we bumped up this year, it would be 430.
Line 383.
Oh, okay. So that will include tools?
Yes.
Great.
Like last year, Emery said the same thing, start making a lead salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bump that up a little bit.
How come the mileage is down?
The mileage is down because it was proposed that the pickup truck deal didn't happen, so I was supposed to get,
Yeah.
Highway's buying a truck,
Right.
and
And then
then
Brixton
maintenance
gets a
gets
truck.
Okay,
the
so
old
that is
truck.
happening.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
like March or something,
Yeah,
so
okay. No, that
we
makes-
we
So
kinda
it's-
cut it,
Yeah.
left some there.
Yeah,
Because there'll be a
that
few months,
transpires.
yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
No COLA raise
Uh,
in the budget?
oh, no, there is in mine. That was something I noticed
Okay.
after I printed.
And then so where does that leave us? Like
49,650, and it leaves you with a total of 134,081.
so we're still right around.
Still 0% change year over year.
134, oh what?
081.
Okay. And what does that do to FICA and Medicare?
Let's see. I mean, I'll be reprinting these for you. I wouldn't.
Okay.
They're just, yeah.
Any other questions for Rick?
Rick, you do great work. The changes in building look fantastic. So nice. Every time I come in, there's some little, like, there's a plant in there now. Like, little things keep getting added. You really,
Yeah, the other side come out really good. It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's transformed.
as soon as the weather starts catching up with us, I should say, we'll continue painting, so this will, that paint will work its way.
That color will
Yeah.
move through the whole
You got your
building.
meeting room back, by the way.
I know,
You didn't
that's
know
right.
that.
And Annie's got an office. Yeah, it's really nice.
Everybody's got.
That's a nice office, isn't it?
very nice.
Yeah.
I like my window. Also, I thought you were supposed to have a day off today, but Rick was lining the soccer field for me right before the game,
Yeah.
which was
Oh.
really nice. Thank
I
you.
thought it was your last home game, so I
It is,
wanted
yeah.
to make sure the field looked good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for all the good work.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is the grass around town, around the office here and stuff
Yeah.
looks great. You
Yeah.
could add my lawn to the list.
Yeah, some of it's coming better than others, but it's getting there.
No, but I mean,
over
it's
time it will, yeah.
Tidy, it's not overgrown or anything.
I
which is
really
nice.
find it hard to understand how it all worked before we had, you know, a full-time person in this position.
Did it?
Maybe
It's
not.
it's
We're
amazing
here
how
now.
much stuff comes at you, like,
Yeah.
out of the blue, it's crazy. But, glad you all appreciate it, and it
Yeah.
is fun. I am having fun.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Any
great.
other questions for Rick?
No.
Well, thank you very much for coming in tonight, we appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Yep.
Good night.
Yeah, have a good night. I'm gonna move on to the emergency management with Zach Remick. What pages are we on here?
526
11.
in line.
Okay.
Where'd my video go?
What'd you say?
My
where-
video for me disappeared.
You're a ghost.
If I may, I would just like to, before we do the budget, I was wondering if I could actually do a share screen real quick. Just to give a quick update regarding one of the projects that I'm working on right now is the disaster storm for April. Let's see if I can do this.
I think I have it sent on multiple, right? Oops.
Yep.
Yeah, I have multiple participants can share simultaneously, so you should be good.
One sec. It logged me out. I just want to give an update. I've done a lot of work on April storm regarding the tree of wires that were down for 3 days at a time. Worked a lot on that. The town's looking at right now, total cost expenditure is $56,487.97, which is going to the feds. They will reimburse the cost at 75%.
Zach, your screen's not sharing yet.
Are you,
Hey, what?
Your screen's not sharing yet. Just so we can see what you're saying.
I saw it.
Can you see it now?
Nope.
oh,
Oh, hang on.
We see
It's
grants
cool.
portal for one-time password.
With a
Yeah,
pass,
it's
with a
processing.
password.
I'm gonna pull it up, so this is what I've been working on.
Great, okay, there we
As you
go.
can see, can everyone see this right here?
Yep.
is that, oh, so we're at
It's right here.
56,000, okay.
This is April's storm. This is the total
Yeah.
cost right now that after computing data with the federal government and the state officials, this is the current number that we are putting in for reimbursement. They're gonna pay 75% of that cost that you see right there. That's all gonna be reimbursable back to the town. Let's see, projects. I will go over here. There's different categories that we determined. So the debris removal was approximately 45,000. The emergency protective measures, there's a breakdown of it, which I will show you right here. Stat summary. As you can see right here, there's a breakdown that what we did is computed, town had 3 to 18 hours worth of generator runtime from that one storm. That's the cost of each generator that was spent, the cost of the fire engine, the command vehicles, grand total of $10,572. That is just for category B, which is emergency protective measures that were done during the storm. All of this is being submitted and basically has to be approved by the federal government. Total hours that I have spent on this project alone is 70. Town hall check-ins for the year is approximately 10 to 15 hours. Emails total for the year is 15 hours. Hazards mitigation review right now is 30 hours for the year regarding the update. Zoom meetings right now is 25 hours for the year. And the storm that I'm working on right now is at 70, but it's going to climb as I have to do more work to get the town back money. But this is a quick synopsis. The budget I set kept it at 6,000 for salary, giving, I don't need an increase, but that is a reasonable request, I think, given the amount of time I have to stop in the town hall, as well as answer the phone for the state, answer emails all the time, and pretty much trying to pay attention.
What was the total hours summed up?
70, I think?
No, that was just for
That
that
was for the
particular
storm.
storm.
This total hours right now is 150. I will probably be at, within the next few weeks, I'll be at 170 or 175, predicting. I still have to spend time on this storm, and then if we have another disaster, there should be more time.
Yep. What agency is this grant going to?
Huh?
What agency does this
So
grant?
this is FEMA. This is
That is a FEMA?
disasters.
That's FEMA? Okay. I thought we weren't gonna get money
Yeah.
from them. Great.
So I do multiple different grants. Emergency management, I'm looking at hazardous mitigation, money that was basically spent on disaster. I get money back that way. I also do grants for the fire department, which is basically obtaining equipment for us to achieve the minimum mission.
Mhm.
So,
Do we know, and this might be a Keats question, why we don't have the pre-audit actuals for the salary? Or is it because it's a
It's
one
stipend,
payment?
yeah.
Yeah. So it'll just be the 6,000.
It would be 6,000.
So that's not considered a stipend?
it is a stipend. I
Yeah.
only get paid twice a year.
So you've gotten 3 already?
Yep.
Okay, well, just needs to come there.
Okay, so we should,
And what's the first responder stipend line about?
First responders, so I have no idea. The first responder stipend,
old
to my
line.
knowledge, was actually back in 2020, and that should have been the COVID money, but I was also not emergency management. I don't know why that line was there.
okay. Well, thank you for all this work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hang on, now I can see it, but So the first responder stipend should be from 2020, and then basically flat rated. The other thing is the expenses on the equipment. I actually would make the suggestion that you could go down to probably 600. You could cut that number in half, honestly.
Which number?
Expenses.
It's there in case there's a disaster, but obviously if there's a disaster, I would assume that I'd be able to have help from other town officials, but that's also there in case I need it, so.
So should I take it to 600?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's honestly a reduction, so.
Okay.
And no worry about generator maintenance?
Generator maintenance, that should be, when the maintenance position was created, all of that should have went over
That's
there
in, I
Okay.
think that's in Rick's.
Yeah.
to Rick.
Is there any way in the budget to note where they move to? Because every year they shift all over the place.
Some things do, not a
Well,
lot.
hopefully we'll get it ironed out. Right?
So is that just because of adjusting how we want the budget to look, and
Over
then it should
time,
be set?
certain things have switched.
Okay.
Yeah, like the
around.
maintenance position wasn't a thing 4 years
Okay.
ago, 3 years ago, whatever it
And
was.
there, his budget went through a lot of shifts in the last 2 years.
And that pulled a lot of stuff out of other
Right.
departments.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he's got $8,000 in the generator.
Yep.
Line for maintenance.
And if we went way over,
So,
oh, well. if we went way over in the generator, we also have the expendable trust for.
Right. Thank you, Zach. For,
Yeah, no problem.
for everything you do.
Hey, we can see you again.
You're back.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of work. The April storm, that is gonna be hopefully pushed through tomorrow, one of the categories. And then the other category, we just need to get additional information regarding the burn pile from the debris that has to get done. And then the other thing is we actually have till, I might butcher the date, but November 5th is the drop deadline for us to finish getting all the costs in for that storm. So there's a potential that we might be able to find more money for us to get back, but that is where I was at. Originally the estimate was 30,000 and now we're up to 56,000.
That'll work.
Well,
Okay.
thanks, Zach.
thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Have a good night.
Moving
You too.
on to
Page 9.
cemetery with John Wheeler.
And he's gonna make a presentation. I just told her.
Or try to answer your questions.
And I think the main question was to understand the 60,000 in the CIP for the vault
Right.
repair.
So that's something that we're still talking about. There's been no decision made about if we're going, how much and if at all we're going to spend money this next year doing the vault. That money is not in our normal budget because we have funds in the in the trust funds to mostly cover that.
Yeah.
If we
It looks like
decide-
there's 57 and, yeah.
Yeah, so we got one quote that was that, but we're
Okay.
still waiting to get another quote from somebody else because that seemed like a high number to us.
And what is it?
What's the repair?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It
Joe.
would be
We know where he's
replacing the front, basically.
So some of the select board doesn't even know where you're talking
The
about.
vault is in the Chicago Cemetery on 113
Oh,
or
It's like
113.
looks like a
Yeah, yeah.
retaining wall.
Right by the road.
Road, yeah,
It's
yeah.
got-
Is that used?
Not for
No.
dead bodies.
It's used at this point for the storage of the corner
Maintenance.
markers,
Oh,
which could be somewhere else, obviously.
mhm.
It's a historic thing that's been there in the past, obviously. I don't know when the present, well, in my time, we've reparged the front, but it's working its way off again and cracking. And
Is it just like
What?
pulling away from the hill?
What needs to
No.
The stucco.
Front.
this,
The stucco's coming up.
What needs to be done to it exactly?
Well, it's like leaking, right? I mean, it's basically,
Moisture comes through and is,
Like through the rock face?
yeah,
there's a lot of cracks.
or it's coming down from above. The vault itself, except for the front, is a concrete vault. So it's solid, that's fine. But it's the front, and the proposal we got was saying, okay, we've got to take off the front, we've got to rebuild the wall, and into the retaining walls on the side. And would be a fine thing, but to spend 60,000 for beauty,
Right.
we had a very hard time stomaching that
Right,
idea.
because he's a stonemason and he would make the facade that you see look really nice with stones. And it wouldn't
Do
just
you
be
have-
like cement blocks,
So it's not just restuccoing, it's completely
No.
redoing the front.
Yeah.
rebuilding it.
Yeah.
Do you have, you've got somebody that you're trying to get prices from?
Another person, yeah.
Okay.
So we're just waiting on that right now.
Okay.
You know, and then of course we could just get rid of it. Bulldoze it, fill it in, plant grass, done. But it is a historic sort of part of the cemetery, so we have to weigh that.
And would cost,
And that would have a
Some,
cost too,
too.
to do that.
Yeah,
towards-
still be thousands and thousands.
Yeah,
and
thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of dollars
That
to,
was-
to take it away too.
Yeah,
Was that what the reserve was created for?
now the reserve is for any
Any repairs?
repairs of, or purchase of new cemetery property, etc. It comes from the sale of lots to people who want it for the cemeteries. So that's for all of our cemeteries.
Have you looked into any grants for historic preservation?
No, we have not, haven't gotten that
That far yet?
stage, yes.
I guess we'll wait and see what this next
Yeah.
quote is and what that person thinks
kind of
the
be too,
answer is.
it'd be too bad to do away with it,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
But
I
at the
know.
same time, it'd also be too bad to spend $60,000 on that.
Precisely.
Right.
So, it's a
I
tough
know-
one.
I know Mark, the third trustee who's not here, he feels pretty strongly about keeping it as a historic part of the cemetery.
Yeah, I think that
I
would be
wonder if
nice.
the Moosewood grant would
The moose plate?
assist.
Moose
Yeah.
plate?
I think it's
It's like-
unlikely, it's hard to get grants for cemeteries.
Moosewood is the cookbook, right?
Right.
It's hard to get grants for cemeteries?
Cemeteries.
Really?
That's too bad.
Very few cemeteries are on the state or national register of historic places. When they established the register, I think they realized there were just too many of them.
Yeah, that'd be too many.
Right.
So it's, the few burial grounds you see on the registers are usually associated with a church or another building. So
Like
it's,
Greenwood's in there, but yeah, alright.
or it's, was designed by, a master architect, like Mount Auburn Cemetery was the one. But it's really hard to get grants for cemeteries.
Interesting, okay.
Can I just ask how you got your bids, or who are you bidding for? How'd you obtain the quotes?
We just got the one quote from Gary Jones, stonemason.
So is that local? You just
He's
went-
local,
Yeah.
he's a local person. I guess just from people we knew to ask, right? We don't have
But any other ideas? Happy to hear.
No, that's what I was wondering, if we posted kind of publicly that we're looking for bids.
We could.
Yeah.
We could.
Could post it on the town website.
Yeah.
You never know what will show up.
So
Well,
the total that you're showing is 33,485?
For our regular budget,
Yep.
Okay,
and that's
Are you
pretty.
happy with your maintenance contract?
yes.
Good.
He's been, or she, they're from Brownfield, but they've had it for almost 10 years now. We did go out at the beginning of this, well, 4 or 5 years ago. And she was still the best, but had very few to no complaints, and I think she does a very good job.
Good.
Yep.
So really, a couple of our, everything's pretty much the same as last year. We just went up a little bit in the surveying category because we know there's some issues that Paul King needs to look at, some boundary stuff.
Well,
Any other questions?
it does say that cemeteries can be on the historic register. There's one in Center Harbor.
Yep, nationwide, there's very few.
Yeah, I'm just looking at L-chip.
Mm-hmm.
So you could look into that process and you can get up to 50 grand for the rehabilitation projects.
Well,
And I don't know how many hoops there are to jump through, but you could talk to Center Harbor and see how they did it.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for the cemetery?
No?
No? I guess that's all from us. Thank you both for coming in tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hopefully you get some more bids to come in for the.
yeah,
I thought you were gonna say some more funds coming in, which is like some.
Sorry.
we're working on it.
Hopefully, yeah.
See what we get.
Good night.
Yeah, just go right to the bank balance.
Moving on to there's no old business, on to the administrator report.
The bank balance is $3,235,504. Now that we've set the tax rate, which is far ahead of, I'm surprised we were able to set it this early. I think Michelle from DRA must have called, they must have been one of the first towns. Anyway, so that means Ken can start, going to the press and printing out the bills. We're gonna have that valuation letter in that document.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that cash balance will start to be replenished much earlier than we typically would be doing, which is great. Keeps the cash flow healthy, which our cash flow is really quite healthy because again, that unassigned fund balance, many towns don't have one so high. And some towns end up having to do end of year loans and pay interest on them, so it's great that we don't have to. What else is going on? Emily and I are spending a lot of time talking together on the budget and just sort of, learning the ins and outs of it. So that's great that we have this time. She knows so much of it already that we're in good shape. And I don't know, that's pretty much what I'm working on.
Thank you. I'm gonna move into the signature file. I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for October 17th, 2024, as well as the non-public meeting minutes for October 17th, 2024, I'm assuming. Under RSA 91-A:3 2D Section 1, RSA 91-A:3 2A Section 2, RSA 91-A:3 2A Section 3, and RSA 91-A:3 2A Section 4.
Second.
Roll call vote.
You said yes?
Very yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Roberts, yes. 4, 5, yes, 0, no. I make a motion to approve the driveway application for map 212, lot 31, sublot 8.1.
That one, yep.
Second.
Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Very yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5, yes, 0, no. I make a motion to approve the warrant for elections, 2 copies.
Second.
Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Very yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5, yes, 0, no. I make a motion to approve the payroll in the amount of $59,622.13, as well as the accounts payable in the amount of $383.83.
Second.
That's a fun number.
Roll call vote.
You say yes?
Very yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Prentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5, yes, 0, no. The cash used to date is $8,902,221.22. Select board update, starting with Richard.
I went to the Lakes Region Planning Commission meeting last night. They had a fairly long presentation about the state's E911 program, which I thought was gonna be boring as hell. And it was actually fascinating. I had no
Really?
idea that they could keep me riveted with 911.
What was the, 911?
Yep. New Hampshire is one of only 2 states in the nation that has its own E911 program. The other is Rhode Island, because I think only a small state could pull it off.
Oh,
There are 780,000 addresses in New Hampshire, and somebody from that office has been to every one.
Wow.
And they have their own mapping program, and because they don't really want to trust anybody else's maps, and they map everything, and they go to make sure they have it right.
they're
And
amazing to work with.
It's astounding.
Yeah, they're
So
really
they have
good.
2 call centers, one's in Laconia, one's in Concord. And you dial 911 in New Hampshire, and it goes to whoever is sitting at a desk who has been waiting the longest for a call, regardless of where it is or which office they sit in. So the system just is constantly working fast. They, like 90-something% of their calls are only answered within 10 seconds. And they have 16 weeks of training to answer a call.
Wow.
Wow.
And they immediately, as they're dealing with the person on the phone, are transmitting that information electronically to the local jurisdiction. Because that's one of the fears people have is, I have an emergency, stop talking to me because you need to
Right.
talk to the guy in the fire truck to get him to my house. No, that's already happened, don't worry about that. And they get 1,300 to 1,500 calls per day. If you have a blizzard, it could go up to like 5,000, 7,000 calls per day, but the average is 1,300 to 1,500. And they have a program where they can engage a translation service that can translate 240 different languages. Didn't even know there were that many, particularly in New Hampshire. And I didn't know you can text 911.
You can?
Can text 911, didn't know that. And when you don't have a signal, it has that little SOS thing on your phone.
Yeah.
I never knew what that meant. No, if you look at your settings in your phone, you can get essentially a sat phone call on your smartphone. So look at your phone and check the settings and that little SOS thing.
I know when I try and turn my phone off, SOS comes up, and I'm always like, no, I don't do that.
So I just thought it was pretty cool. A couple of their addressing standards. I always wondered why. I'm about the 15th house up the street.
Yeah.
My house number is 688. I thought, how is that? Well, the recommendation is every 50 feet you have 2 numbers. And in Tamworth, he said, I think in Tamworth it's like every 20 feet there's 2 numbers. So that's why the numbers ramp up fast, because they're leaving room for new houses.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change everybody's numbers.
Yeah.
They urge towns to name every street, no matter what the people on the street say. Every driveway that serves 3 or more houses should be named.
Yep.
And then you renumber those houses to make sure that the guy in the fire truck can get there. Only numbers, not 30A, because 30A on the phone sounds a lot like 38, and the ambulance is going to 38 when it should be going to 30A. And there's a RSA that covers road naming, 231:133. All roads will be named. The town has the authority to name private roads, whether people want it or not, and they recommend we name private roads. And we are to avoid using currently used or confusing names, whatever that means, confusing names.
We have some confusing names.
All the Bryants.
Do we have unnamed roads?
And there's an East Whittier Road and a Whittier Road.
There was that Whittier thing that we dealt with a year or so ago. Maybe we need to look at that.
Not sure.
The case study they gave was, I think, one that we looked at when we were looking at the Whittier
Yeah.
Road. It was in, I think, was it Groveland or Groveton or something?
And it was on the
No, it
opposite
was in,
ends of the
what's
town.
that town next to Keene? Swansea.
Right.
That had a Grove Street, an East Grove Street, a North Grove Street, and another Grove
And
Street.
somebody died as a
And
result
the
of.
fire truck went to the wrong one, and it caused a 30-minute delay and the house burned down. So it has real world consequences. So I was surprised how interesting it was.
Yeah, the staff at 911 are amazing.
They really know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're great.
That's all I got.
Cool.
Well, it's a whole lot more than I got.
That's okay.
I didn't have any meetings to go to this week, so
Nothing to report?
nothing to report.
Okay, well, we got an updated bathroom schedule at the transfer station, so tight, but looking like we'll still hit it this year. For the, go ahead.
And on the bathroom schedule, I talked to Willie, I didn't notice till a couple of days ago, the bathroom design was gonna go to TSIC for review, which was gonna eat up a week.
Oh, yeah.
Take that out.
I said, Willie, TSIC doesn't need to look at the bathroom. He said, yeah. So we can kill a whole week there. Everything can
Great.
shift back a week. So we've got a call tomorrow, we can tell
Yeah.
Ron tomorrow.
And that was one of the things, we have a call tomorrow with the Sanborn.
We don't need even more people looking at the bathroom, do that.
No.
I missed the LRPC meeting, thanks that we have 2 people, so Richard got to go, because I was at planning board last night, which was the longest planning board meeting I've ever been at. We didn't get out of here till 9, it was crazy. But there's a lot going on. One is that in the 2025 budget, there's money to begin the master plan, coming up with a survey to kick things off, and there's a whole bunch of work that has to happen before that is even a real glimmer in anybody's eye. We're working on a mailing to go out to everybody in town that will just try to break down what the subdivision regulation is, so that people who have a piece of land and are building on it understand when they have, what the regulations are, and when they have to go to the planning board when they don't. We had a bunch of hearings for property line adjustments, boundary line adjustments, and we also had something else that I don't know, I can't remember. But you can read the minutes on the website and find out the last thing that I've forgotten.
Is that it? No select board update for me. I apologize for being a little late this evening. Not that it's out of the ordinary for me, but I promise I am doing my best. I just have crazy days.
It's all right. It's okay.
So, other than that, moving on to public input. Is there any?
I just wanna remind you guys, next week is Halloween. So Main Street's gonna be closed. If you don't have the rec app, if you have it, you'll get a notification. But that Main Street will be closed for trick or treating. The outing club is really spearheading it, but they're carving pumpkins on Sunday on the History Center lawn.
Oh, fun.
And then, what is it, Wednesday night is Halloween? No, Thursday night's Halloween.
Thursday night's
And
Halloween.
that's why we don't
Are you
have.
bringing yours in?
Yeah.
Sage May. I'm headed to Pennsylvania
Ah,
at like
yeah.
2 o'clock on Thursday morning.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Any other public input?
This is Maureen. I think you already answered my question, Keats. I was kind of curious about when Emily will begin. I know you just approved the hiring and the pay rate tonight, but it sounds like things are already starting.
Training, yeah.
December
Good,
1st.
good. That's
Well,
that's
December
good.
2nd is a
December
Monday.
2nd.
So Emily
Oh,
would,
December 2nd is an official start date for?
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna train between
Okay.
now and, so Emily's kind of sitting in my office, and about every 15 minutes I interrupt her train of thought and say, oh, and you should know. So it's great, because, you know, she's starting with a
So-
big foot forward.
So the item you talked about tonight, which was $35 an hour for training, has already started, am I correct? And the official start date for her full duties is December 2nd?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thanks. And I just wanted to say also, I was going to thank particularly Rick, because I do think he does a wonderful job, but then I realized that was just because I see him now and then, and I don't see all the other department heads as often as I see Rick probably. But I really do think that we have a wonderful group, and I thank everyone who presented tonight for their work on their budget.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maureen.
I just wanna say though, Maureen, the $35 for training starts after tonight. We
Yeah,
just voted on it
right.
tonight.
I was gonna specify that.
So she started training and still getting paid because it's during her rec pay time, but the bump up to the admin salary rate will start tomorrow.
Thanks for the clarification.
Any other Emery, sorry. Any other public input?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Selectman Apprentice, did you get any answer on the police policy that I asked last week?
No, you didn't,
Okay.
because the chief is away until Monday on vacation.
Because I did find out that the accreditation that the Ossipee chief went for, he's at 82%. And
Okay,
he actually went down to, I believe, Boston to get extra training. But until they move their whole entire police station over to the new building, he'll go to 100%, but now he's at 82, so he's up to that point. And I don't know, because I was confused, there were two different accreditations. There's a national accreditation, which is the CALEA, C-A-L-E-A. But that's really hard to get.
yeah.
But the state gives one out, which is a state accreditation, and I believe
Does that have an
that's-
acronym too, though?
I don't think so. He
Um,
probably does, but I don't know what it is. So I'm assuming that Chief Littlefield went for that one, the
The
state
state
one.
one. Mhm.
And that's a separate question from the policy issue.
I'll double check, he's been gone, since last meeting, and won't be back till Monday.
I just bring this up because policies are important.
Yeah.
Because if something isn't followed, or somebody accuses the department of something,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have everything in place, then it puts everybody at risk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the reminder.
Hearing no more public input. Make a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A:3
Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Sarah, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Apprentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. We're now in non-public at 7:35 p.m.
Playing soccer.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Take one, best go.
Oh, this is our non-public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves it, and
How's the leg, Emma?
And Abe is
that
like
good?
milking around my house, I'm like, we have it, it's really work for him, I'm like,
Pumpkin
don't
carving
worry,
should be
but
fun on Sunday.
she's a sweetie.
Pumpkin carving should be fun on Sunday.
7:52.
7:52.
make a motion to come out of non-public at 7:52 p.m.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Sarah, yes.
Schaefer, yes.
Apprentice, yes.
Roberts, yes. 5 yes, 0 no. Minutes are not signed. Motion to adjourn.
Next meeting in 2 weeks.
Right,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no meeting
I'll
next
see you
week.
guys like
Oh, that's
in
right.
January.
Yeah. See you at town meeting.
Well, you were here for tax rate setting, so that was good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here for signing the warrant.
And
So you're gonna be gone for a while, can Bushy get a second bail, if it, like, if we,
Yeah,
if we
I'm
get
back
snowed?
and forth. It just
Oh, you
works
are,
out
okay.
that like every Thursday I'm not here.
And it's